try and get all the fish you catch loving and cuddly as small as that, so when they return, they can spread the love and amazing experience. Sure. I'm checking out y'all's channels. I'm so thinly spread, it's going to be tough to watch everything. I can't begin to watch everything. Waiting for fishing for catfish.
Oh, man. Oh. I've seen somebody do this before. Should I do that? No, I probably shouldn't. Where did I drop? Okay, well, I'm just gonna do it really quick. Yeah. Late night crawdad. Real quick. Fun. Orange.
My biggest one tonight was 28 pounds. 28 pounds.
Good. People fishing. This time. Hopefully this thing will focus. Just seeing that bobbing. That bobkin. Bobbing going around. Okay. Happy Friday. It's going into the next day now. See how I want to do this crawl. Fish, little crawfish. Crawfish pattern been done a million times. But I'm going to do an orange one. So, put the coral legs in. And this is just a variation of other crawl patterns that are already out there. But it's kind of cool when you put like a piece of fabric and make your own little crawfish. Make your own little crawfish pattern. Here's the tricky part. So I did it perfect on that one. I'll be able to do it almost perfect on this one. I don't know. We're gonna find out. Might not be able to do it. Let's see. See, it doesn't always come out perfect. Pretty good. That thing getting it to crawl, the legs to kind of see like that's laying down. That one kind of has like a thing to it. It's gonna, this one's gonna really move better just by the way I wrap that on there. I just know it's gonna move differently, slightly. Like orange crawfish. And we're just gonna glue it down. Yeah, it'd be fun to tie this up. Weird today. It feels like it's almost like a summer day, like an early summer day. There's a spring day right now. Spring evening or early, late evening or something. Or early going towards early morning or something. It's weird. Oh, and let's see if I got. I think this is the one I want to use. Use some fishing line. Yeah, see, you want them to hang out like that. That'd be cool. Ooh. Oh, that's bad. Oh, we just had a malfunction. Something that just happened I can't control here. Look at that. It just like broke. It just like did something weird. It's weird. But I assume it's possible. Gotta find another piece of that now. Find a piece of that to make this lure. See, sometimes it doesn't always go like you thought it would. You start tying something. Where is it? Come on. Oh, there it is. Let's try it again. Guess I gotta. I wonder why it tore like that. That's interesting. Oh, there's something going on here. Let's see. Oh, wow. Am I just out of luck? No, I'm not. Okay. I think it just got a bad. Yep. I just got a bad spot. Just a bad spot. It was just a bad spot in the. It's a bad spot in the Because this is just a piece of straw, basically. Like literally, it's really like a piece of straw that's like wrapped up. And so that piece just started to decay or something. It just started breaking or something. It just wanted to be not act right. So there's the fun part. Well, one of the fun parts. It's a little challenging. Yeah, see, it's trying to split there, but that's not what we wanted to do. To see if we can save it, because it's trying to do the same thing with this one. We're gonna leave it like this. Let's see if we can. This straw that I'm using is actually very many years old. So some of your materials will last a long time if you store them properly. Fun stuff. Cool way to make it work, right? And this is why when I tie these, I'm probably gonna need a new bobbin eventually. So I don't tie many of these. I just tie a few, and they're just tedious. But they look really cool. And there's probably a better way to do it. If I had a different vise or whatever, but you make it work. Yeah, I'm not gonna put any antennas in it. You can put antennae like what a crawfish has if you want also, but I'm not going to. But this is kind of gonna be my antenna is this part. It's gonna be both things. On here. The glue is trying to do crazy stuff right here. Saw it like floating in the air right here. Oh, look. It's hard to see here. See that glue sitting on there. Just want to get some of that glue on there. Just to hold this feather in there. And then, so usually I don't put the eyes in, but I'm gonna put eyes on this one. Usually I don't put eyes on them, but we're gonna try to put eyes on this one. Kind of why I put glue on it. Like right about there. 1, 2. And I got burned earlier trying to make these eyes. I was like, this is part of it when you make. Pattern like this. And you know, you can make mistakes or whatever, but same thing you make with eyes. You can make shrimp too with the eyes like this, but there you go. This one, trying to get the eyes even. So that's gonna be the eyes of the crawdad. You don't even have to put them in there. It's just, to me, it's like, it's aesthetic, pretty much. You know, gives it more real appeal, but it's not necessary. It just needs to be it just needs to be the shape of it and move and fall like how a crawfish moves or a shrimp or something moves. So let's see here. So this is going to be orange crawfish. So some dubbing, and I mixed it with red flash blue dubbing because I wanted to have a flash color ring to it. I think that will be kind of neat. Wish I had a lighter colored straw, like type of straw, but it's okay. It's like, still a crawfish. You look at bass lures, they're all kind of colors. So bass craws have all kind of colors to them. But this is kind of more of a southern craw because it's got the orange, and I'm using the orange jig head. Be fun. Fun to make. I fish for steelhead, trout, salmon, bass, whatever I can get on my fishing line, pretty much. But I really love salmon, but you know, seasonal. But I like catching other stuff too and tying whatever. And it's fun to tie stuff to see if it works or if it don't. Got trout flies sitting up here that catch other things, all kinds of stuff. So we're gonna try this dubbing spinner. I might have to pull more dubbing stuff out here. Fun stuff. This thing's a really cool tool, but at the same time, there's things about it. This tool. Today, this isn't a salmon bait today. This is warm water fish thing here. Warm water. Cool device. Okay, great. Put this right there for now. I haven't tried this dubbing in here or mixing it. See what it does yet. I use a very popular one right now. It's, just like it's very popular jig head. If you want a jig head or an actual jig with like patterns on it, like actual pattern. Even then, one thing I started finding out about these fish doesn't even, sometimes it doesn't matter. People are like, well, it's not proven. I was like, sometimes it doesn't. It's just more of getting it in front of their face and the colors and stuff. I like marabous, and I just made this one, but this isn't a steelhead one, but it's got those colors. I just threw that one together, and I just was in a mood, but those colors minus that is pretty steelhead ish. If you take that same color and you put it in a fly, like a streamer fly, that's steelhead color. So so a lot of the old any color you see in the store is they say this is a steelhead jig will work. It's just how do you want it to look? You can make it look different than what you're seeing sold in the store, or you can, it's some colors are always the tried and true. And I learned a lot of the old colors, so like just black and white, or all white or all black or black and red. Like certain colors are just always kind of steelhead trouty colors. So you can't go wrong with certain colors. You can almost literally take 3 colors and be like, maybe I'll catch one. It's just same thing with salmon, sort of in a way. You're like, I got this, and this color, but sometimes a little bit different color. Certain color is better. Certain river or whatever. It just seems to. Sometimes I think it's people fishing the fish a lot too, and that might change how they respond. I don't know. Someone, it's up for debate. It's up for debate. At least to me, like that's kind of up for debate. You just kind of. You go out there and you start fishing and you start seeing kind of what's happening. You're like, oh, and sometimes you find something simple is what it is. And you're like, oh, simple color. And then I found like, depending on salmon or whatever it is like sometimes the color, it's whatever color everybody's using, sometimes it doesn't work. And then for some reason, some colors just always work in that river. It's just, I don't know. I don't know. I think sometimes it's just confidence, what you're confident in too. You're like, okay, that pink works, or I caught a few with that, and you get confident in it, and then you kind of know, like, well, that seems to work everywhere. And so if you think of it like that, and you see what's in this market store, then you start going, oh, what can I tie from that? And I learned a lot of stuff from the old colors, and then now they have so much new stuff. I kind of like how this is coming out. It's got a different color scheme to it. Yeah, I think it's coming out pretty good. It's got like a red and orange, but there's a lot of colors you can mess with. I have a whole box sitting over here that I showed, like just different stuff, and some of them I'm like, I don't even know if it's gonna catch anything, but I just like I feel confident in it. And then a few I'm like, I know it'll catch. I lost them in the river. I caught fish with them, certain things, and I'm like, oh. I'm trying to get the crawfish eyes to kind of. I'm using a different type of dubbing than I used on the other one I made. And this one's more frizzy. And we need like a dash more. Gonna have to make more of this. That's another thing when you're mixing the dubbing too. Let's do this. I'll take some more orange. Get some more orange here. If you look, see this orange has red in it. Like a sparkling red that I mixed with it. Cause no bass like those the glitter, you know, like I love June bug. That's one of my favorite colors to use for bass is June bug. And I've used June bug here where I live, and I've used June bug all the way on the other side of the United States before. And it just that color just with that little glow, the little flake in it, it just seems to work. So same thing, kind of like certain lures, is kind of like, it's kind of possibly will still work. Yeah, I'm gonna have to do like a little move here. Let's see how it works out for us. I think that's gonna be good. It's like, do I want to spin the dubbing or do I want to actually like go like that and do different ways? I want to do it the same way, kind of the other one. Be fun. It's fun. Ties to. I find it funny. Like I have one of the Steelhead books from Bill Herzog, and I think it's funny that I ran into him at a sports store one time, and I was a young person then, and I thought that was funny, and nothing about it later, and I was like, I gotta meet him, you know. So I understand when young fishermen meet people, how to feel. You feel like, whoa. I remember that, and then he was doing some kind of seminar or something, and I was like, oh, and I was with someone, and they're like, I'm not gonna tell him to come meet you, but go talk to him. And he was like doing a seminar about steelhead, and then I was like, I don't know, and then he like literally came out to the parking lot and was like, hey, you like steelhead? And I had his book, and I was like, yeah. He's like, hey. He said, well, keep fishing, you know. That lit up my day, you know. When I was a younger person. And I learned a lot from that book, and I still have that book. It was tattered and beaten it, and I still have that book. But this is a bass craw, pretty much. Right here is a bass crawfish here. We're kind of messing with. I tied another one that's a different color, and I've tied some other ones before, but this is like a different color scheme I wanted to do. To see how it looks. That would be fun. fun thing to tie. And every time I fished one of these, I end up losing them or something for some reason on the bottom or something, or I get hits from them and then something happens. I think it's sometimes when you tie something that you think is gonna work and you know it will, and then sometimes you get so it just seems like then everything happens wrong because you're so wanting to catch something with it to see if it works, but you know it's gonna work eventually. I think sometimes it's like that. I was like, it's Friday. It's probably the next day now. I was like, I'll tie one and see. I didn't go fishing today, but I wanted to. I really did want to. And this is the legs of it. Let's see what we get here. 1 through. Snugging this down is like kind of difficult too because it will come loose even after you tie it. It can. It'll be the hackle feather can be loose. You can tie a wire on it too to make it stay when you tie something like this over dubbing, but a lot of times I've never had to, but sometimes they have gotten loose after I started fishing with them. Same thing happens with some of the trout stuff when you tie a tight trout fly or something. You think you have it snug, the hackle feather, over when it's over dubbing or something. So that's why some people wrap a wire. But this is on a jig head, so it's kind of like, You can also just take glue, a little bit of glue of some kind, and that'll fasten it. I'm trying to keep it kind of snug. This hackle feather here, this like saddle hackle here. Oh, someone's messaging. Or no, someone's doing something else, which I will check out once I'm done with this. You know what? I'm gonna use thread to do it because I forgot to use my to wrap this down. So I'm gonna use thread on this. Be fun to see how this comes out. And I'm just using thread on it. Gonna be all thread almost. Oh, Hack was doing something weird here. There you go. How you want it there. So sometimes I've done this, and then I wrapped it a couple of times with the thread, and then use a fishing line on it. And that's what I did the other ones I've tied, fishing line. Flip this back. Pull this back. Press this back. Wrap over. A little messy. I'm gonna tie the fishing line in here and just do it for the tail part. So there's your half of it done. So that's why I was like, I don't know if it even matters sometimes to put the eyes in and it makes it look more crawfishy, but you can barely see the eyes in there. But they're in there, you know. They're there. They're in there. I don't think the fish are gonna. I mean, it matters, but I don't think they. It needs to look the shape of it and move like it. Because if you look at a plastic lure, it has eyes on it, but it's just from a mold. So I think if it just looks in their shape, but it has a cool action, bass is gonna like it. They're gonna attack it. If they're thinking, if crawfish are on their mind, basically. You hear other people talking to me around, people fishing. They're out there fishing, watching them catch catfish over here while I'm sitting here tying this. I was like, are they catching anything? I don't know. Watch others do what they do. I've yet to get a bass this year yet. I'm just like, what? I was like, this year is that year, like that. Time on a Friday. That's probably another day. Yeah, I even put this. After I tied this thing, I put it into a Google Lens search, and I was like, nope. I was like, there's something similar, but I don't see anything popping up. I was like, okay, so it's similar to some studies, but it's not. So I was like, okay, and it's a variation of it that I just created, basically, and someone else has something out there somewhere similar, but it's a variation. And I've done that with other patterns just to see, if anything. Don't want to upset anybody. Seems to be a theme that was happening around me, but I don't think it. I think it's just in the fighting business or any kind of jig type thing. Someone else might make something similar. hey, look how I tied that. Something similar. I was like, oh, it's different. Or a different color scheme or a different idea to it. And then yeah, I gotta put glue there for sure because I want to make sure that it see if I can get this hair to. And I forget what this dubbing is called. I don't know what it is even called. But it's got a different feel than this. It's like it's synthetic, but it's not. It's something else. It's called something else. It's not like the synthetic stuff that I have. And I've had this kind for a long time, but I'm like, what is that stuff? It comes out looking neat. It definitely comes out a lot fluffier kind of shape to it when I actually spin it. So I don't. Not sure what they call it. I can't remember what they call it because the stickers that were on the package came off a long time ago, and I just had it and I've used it here and there. And it seems to look like a Cajun crawfish. So that's why I'm tying it. This little tool's coming kind of handy. But at the same time, I've actually broken the thread using this spinner before. But it has made it it does make it kind of easier and to spin like the dubbing, kind of, sort of. It's fun to kind of play with. It's quick and easy once you learn how to use it. But there's still a little error, getting used to using it. But stuff comes out pretty good when you use it. It comes out decent. But there's still a little something about it sometimes. And I tied extra dubbing on this one. Didn't need to put that much, but it's okay. Want it to really flare out and be buggy looking. Yeah, just see how it comes out. Yep, and these have been crawls like this have been done and done and done and done and done and done and done over and over in different kind of ways. And I was watching someone else and they're like, this is how my crawls are. And then he makes a really good crawfish. And then I saw someone, I said, hey, that's that person's crawfish. I kind of saw it and I was like, that's kind of like their crawfish. And I was like, then someone else was like, they make a crawfish like that. And then someone was like, I make a crawfish like that. And I was like, it's like, no, great minds think alike, I guess. Everybody had a crawfish that kind of looked like that. I said, well, probably works. And then I said, well, I'm going to do it like this. And then someone else was like, I did something. Then I saw somebody else and like, they had something like that. I was like, oh, okay. It's kind of similar. So the difference, I think that one of the differences was the material used to make the shell of the crawfish was different. And some had no shell, it just the shape. So you don't necessarily have to make a shell to make it look like a crawfish. You can just put like rubber legs and different things as long as it kind of has that shape and it's a bassful like that type of thing. You know, bass like some lures that don't make sense sometimes. You're like, that don't look like it catches fish, and then it is. And sometimes you fish the lure all the time and you don't catch them. Try not to cut my thread here. Yeah, time to crawl. It's almost there. Orange crawl, like blood orange crawl with red. It's almost done. I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you stopping in and hanging for a bit, checking what I'm doing. So you can see the red and the legs, crawl feet. And we gotta try to get this shell back on here. And then I got my fish line. Let's see if I can get it to look right. Pull this over. We're gonna go we're gonna go with this the grain. Well, maybe it'll be. Let's see if it looks different if it goes the other way. What happens if it goes the other way? Might be better this way. Unwrap. Kind of glued it down. Now we're trying to make the little shell segments. Oh no. I'm battling. I'm fighting. There's one. I'm using a fishing line to wrap it down rather than I used a thread to get it initially started, and now I'm using a fishing line to actual monofilament to keep it down to make the little bumps of the shell. I do the same thing with a shrimp. Making a shrimp. It's just getting through the dubbing part. It's just like it's a little bit challenging to me because you want it to, and you want to really show that it has a shell to it. Some kind. Come on. cooperate with me. There's 2, 3 wraps. Oh, that hair tries to sit in there and get caught in there. That's the only part that's irritating about making this one. You want it to look nice looking. It's the only thing that's irritating about it to me. And like right up there. Hey, I didn't think I had the patience for it. You're like, I like watching it, but you're like, I don't know. You're like, I don't know, man. You're like, hey, I don't think I have patience. I've gotten less patience. See, so because I had patience younger. So think about it like that. So you're like, man, I can do this now. You'll be like, oh, I can do that. You all of a sudden something might change in you, and you'll be like, oh man, I can sit down and just sit there for hours doing stuff that you probably couldn't do. You wouldn't think you could do it before. That's how I look at it. Because there's other things I'm like, oh, I wouldn't be able to do that very efficiently. And then I'm like, oh, I can do that. And people are like, you never did that before. I'm like, so sometimes I think because of things you go through and learn, you're like, oh, I can just wait a minute. And then you realize you can do it. And you're like, oh, that's all that was. Man, I was making that difficult on myself. And you're like, I can't do that. And you can. It just depends on what it is. I feel like I'm still like fighting that because I want that hair to like sit. So that's all it is. I'm just fighting the hair, this dubbing hair thing that I put on it. Because I don't want to have to, I want it to just sit a certain way. On the jig. And you can see as I tighten it, it's like whoop. It's a little bit of a challenge. And honestly, I want to put like a lacquer on the top, but I don't have the lacquer. So I'm going to use I'm not happy with the UV for doing this. I think I need a different brand. So I'm not happy with the UV. But it did come out. It looks good, the one I've done with the UV. But I didn't like how it came out, really. I was kind of like upset with it for whatever reason. I was like, I liked that it came out a certain way. But when I tied these before, and so I'm holding this fishing line in my hand. There's a fishing line right there. And there's a little trick to this part too, because you can snap your thread really easy right here. I've actually got a lot of pressure I'm pulling on here to make that back of that. And that's just a piece of straw, like straw from the field. It's just, they like colored it, treated it. It's a piece of straw. And that's how you make the, I think it's Dave Whitlock crawfish, same thing. So that's all it is, and I'm just using it to make the back, shell back of this. So then we're gonna pull this down. Turn this over so you can see it from the side. So yeah. Oh, rotisserie, what's up? So there you go, rotisserie. There's a crawfish. Actually, a lot of times I was tying late, 3 in the morning, 2 in the morning. My time. A lot of times. I was like, how dare you go to Ty Fly's channel, rotisserie? How dare you? No, he's Ty Fly. Ty Fly's is cool. Spirit Fly. I think it's Craft Zero. He good fly tires. Those are good fly tires. And a few of them I met. David, good fly tire. K-Fish, good fly tire too. Good jig tire. Like creating stuff. And some of them I've met in person, and some of them I have not. It's okay. It's all right. It's all right, man. It's all right, man. Hanging out, and I'm just cutting stuff. Cut stuff, tying stuff. Yeah, I was just like, I'm gonna tie this jig. Just like a little craw jig. In orange, I already have. Hold on, if I can reach it. So that one there, but it's a different color, as you can see. It's got like a blue, so it's a different color. No, no, I'm not worried about that. I was just laughing. I was like, he has left me. He left me for another flat tire. No, there's some of those patterns. Some patterns I'm like, that's really cool stuff. I'm not. But some patterns you can get the same thing done. The same thing done with another pattern that's easier to make and less material and less money. Just depends what you want to do. And they still work, old tried and true. They still work, but I had to save this. So that's why I was going like this. I was trying to save this. This is all the dubbing. I made it. I don't want to throw it away because I mixed it, and so it has a certain color pattern to it. I don't want to throw it away. Because it's already pre-mixed now, and I didn't need to use that much, but now I have it already mixed. So if I want to make another one, it's already kind of mixed for me. I don't have to do what I did all over again and try to get the right amount to mix. I just have to add a little bit to it. I have some other ones laying around here too. Like this was some red from another thing I was messing around with. Like I just have feathers laying around everywhere. Up here. So it's pretty much done. But as you can, the other one showed you, it's like shining because I put like a a coat on it, like a coating to it. But this one is a little different. I'm doing it a little different. Just slightly. And I'm kind of making it messy, it's kind of messy actually on the front. I'm not really. I just thought like it'd be cool to make this orange. And orange craws work here too in Washington. Anything that has that color kind of works, but this time of year, usually the blue is pretty good, but the orange works too. Orange seems to be like more summery color to me. The orange crawfish seems to. I made a bunch before for my channel where I stopped because of weirdness stuff, weird things were happening. And so I made this pattern before, but all that footage of that, I took everything and deleted it and I started on new. And so what you're seeing is like a whole new, even color scheme, everything. What you're seeing, it's the same, almost the same pattern, but a whole new color scheme. So a couple of things I redid, but it's all different perspective because I said, I'm going to do it this way this time. So some things I'm like, it's a hold. And then some things just like, this one, I did the basic form and then I did a variation of it, like how I felt it should be. And I think it came out really cool, looking little fly, cool little wet fly. And that's just like a standard fly, but I just did a variation on it. And this one. But this little gizmo, this little thing, I was surprised. It's like, it kind of is good, but I was like, man, surprising the price of what it costs. and I saw one, different one, real size of one, and I saw one of these, a different sized one, actually in a store, and it was still priced the same price, but it's almost $40 for that little thing, and it's weighted. And I thought it was really neat, but so for me, this was kind of like a testing it out thing also at the same time. And I was like, I don't know if I want to spend $40 for a dubbing spinner, but I said, well, it's kind of like, it'll be kind of like a review in a way, but I'll try it out. And I still haven't used all the ways you can use it. There's still a couple ways I haven't tried out to see if I like it, but I'm pretty sure it will work pretty good. And it makes things a little faster for some stuff. For certain things you tie, it makes it faster. And it's kind of, and then once you learn how to use it for like spinning like the peacock quills, it works pretty dang good. It's pretty dang good. So here, I don't know if you guys can see it. Whoever's in chat. You see where I tied the fishing line in there? See, there's a little bit of, it's not perfect, but it's really good. See, there's just there's a little bit of this on there. A little bit of fuzz. Try one more loop here. Pretty much done. Some activity up there. Moving around. boom, boom, boom. I'm bumping things. But yeah, it came out okay, I guess. And I don't even use a whip finisher. I basically half hitch it. It's like almost like doing a whip finish. I just half hitch it 2 or 3 times, and I call that my whip finish. Instead of using the whip finisher tool, and then I had one. I gave it away or something. Something happened with it. It just disappeared. But I still get the same. I get the same job done. And when I first tied, I had a whip finisher. I didn't even, no, the first kit I had, it didn't have a true whip finisher in it. They didn't have those in those kits. They didn't even have a whip finisher in there. It was like, this is how you not tied in a knot. And so I was, at one point I was tying real knots, just a real knot, 1, 2 knots. And that was tying my lures down. Like that was tying a fly down. And I just got used to doing that, and then learned to half hitch, and I started doing that. So a little bit of a gap right there. I don't think it's gonna matter. I need my other. This is good, but I need the other one. Seems like a little gap in there, but you can't really see that. Like, I don't know if y'all can see that. Just a little bit of an imperfection in there. Still looks pretty good though. Like you can leave it like that, or you can also trim it like this. Fire it now. But yeah, you got yourself a craw jig. It's a little bushy. That's a crawfish jig right there. I don't know what y'all think about it. Whoever's in the chat, I don't know what y'all think about it. I think it looks like a crawfish. Orange crawfish rather than brown back. Some legs on it. Little craw legs. And that's one. And then I don't know if he's still in the chat. I can't tell. It's hard to tell sometimes. He's asking about steelhead jigs. And then I showed him this thing. And there's a pattern already like this I've seen. Ooh. There's a pattern like this already. But there's already a pattern like that. But this is something I threw together that I haven't tied in front of anybody. I just made it. but there's already a pattern I think somebody has out. Look, they just were messing with that has these legs like this on it. But I don't know if it's this color scheme. But I think that's like kind of a bassy, steelheady thing. But it can be morphed into anything. It can be morphed into another fishy pattern or something else. But those those little fabrics will move around. And when I was fishing for cutthroat, they were biting that type of material. They were actually biting that. So, when I was live, they were actually biting it. I just couldn't get them hook them on it because they were picking at the worm and trying to strip the worm and things up. But they were grabbing that fabric and running with the bait actually. And then I was waiting for them to see if they would swallow it, but they were just holding on to it and then going back and grabbing it and just kept spitting it. But I've used that material and I've caught trout with it too. Just the material alone. It's just, a little fabric deal. So, yeah, actually, this one even has rubber legs in it too. I did a little bit of everything with that and made it red. But I think if I took the fabric out of it, that fabric piece out of it, it would be basically a steelhead jig, pretty much. Trout jig. So, man, struggler. 36. Yeah, I don't even know. What time is it? It's 12:33 here, so there's like 3, 4 there, maybe. And there's an orange crawfish. Orange craw. Eastern, huh? 3:39 Eastern. I got 12:33 here. And it came out right on jighead. And I have all these ones. These were that's the ones on the short, for sure. That's the one that was on the short. And I got them sitting up here. And then this is the one I tied. I don't know if I should have done a short one, but this is a big hook. It's a big bad boy. And it's just got all kind of things going on. It's just a flashy pattern, but it's pretty big hook on this one. This salmon type of thing. I'm pretty sure pinks will grab it, even though it's big. Big looking lure, but I'm sure pink salmon are not super picky. They just like the color. I'm sure they'll grab it. Yeah, sometimes I'm in like weird times, and sometimes I'm not. I've gotten better with that, where I'm not up at that time, up so super late. I used to be up at like you're talking at like, for me it'd be like 1. For other people it'd be different time. 3 hours ahead, 2 hours ahead. But now I'm gotten a little bit better with my sleep schedule. But even still, sometimes I'm still up, but I just don't. Sometimes I don't tie. I'll be doing other stuff, but I'll be up, checking stuff out. See if we can get the good glue. And I'm not using my UV on this one. That UV has been bothering me a lot. That UV's been a pain in my butt, sort of. It was good, and then it was good until it wasn't. But I think it's just the brand, and there's something funky with that particular UV. And I knew that when I got it, kind of had a feeling it was going to be. That UV is going to, I knew that was going to be a problem. kind of. And I was like, well, let's just see how I feel about it. But it still did cure the lures I did make with it, the flies I did make with it and stuff. It did cure. It seemed to work better with smaller stuff. And so I'm still using fingernail polish. I use fingernail polish sometimes. I use fingernail polish actually on my salmon jigs a lot of times. So double duty, base coat, top coat. And it's cheaper. And it works. But some of them are not good. They don't hold the materials together. Like I got one, it's like long wear or something, shiny coat, and it makes it look all shiny, but it doesn't hold the materials. Because a lot of it's made with the same chemical makeup. Boom. Yeah, I got the one. It's super bright. This one, super bright. Yeah, I mean, I got my glasses. It kind of bothers me. They look good. Like sometimes, like saying, like, you know, you buy one of these, you buy something like this in the store, or you buy something someone makes in the store, and they tie it like really, you tie it super uniform, like that one, you know, it's super uniform. It's like, what? You tie that with your hand? You're like, yeah. And then you get something like this, and you see when I'm just kind of like, I need to get it done, but it'll work. It's messy looking up there, but when it dries and it's fishing. Now you're on the other one. You're on the other one too. You're on your other one. You got your other phone too. Well, now you got my disc. I got you on Discord. We got connected on Discord too. So now I can chat with you whenever you're, show you some things or lures or something, and you can give me some ratings too. Like, what do you think of this one? Because I have some ones I haven't really. They're not on my channel, really. Like that's on there, but this one, but there's some other ones that aren't really on there. I'm about to get another phone because I have a lot of stuff on this one. The one I'm using right now. I have a lot of stuff on it. And I'm like, I think it's time to like switch over, get another one, and then put I'm gonna get another different SD for it and start again and do some different stuff. And I'm trying to decide which phone, how I'm gonna use each phone. Am I gonna use this one for getting phone calls more, or is it gonna be more for live stream? Because I noticed this one, it's like it's eating up power. It gets eaten up with power. The power, it just, as soon as you stream, it's going. The power is just like getting siphoned from it. And it's like, I was like, and I tried to like not use any kind of power bank or anything, and I was like, yeah, I'm glad I bought one because I was like, I'm already at like 10%. And I was like, I've only been on for a minute. And I was like, oh, to go fishing with this phone, I'm gonna need a power bank. And luckily I already had one. So I was in good shape. But I was just like, oh man, like, all right, if it gets at 40%, you better plug it in to the power bank, or else you're not, and then you get an extra. So I was able to fish for 4 or 5 hours. And I had at that 4-hour mark, if I put it in at 40% at 2-hour mark, I was able to get almost the phone charged again. So I had like 100%. So I could fish for probably another 4 hours, actually. So, but really, I did that so I could to be able to use my phone when I get in the car and go. I was like, I need to be able to still be able to use the phone. So they used to make them better, man. Seemed like the batteries lasted a little bit better, but I guess the phones were not as thin. Yeah, I went and got the like kind of bigger power bank, and it's kind of cool because it kind of tells me on the outside of it that it's in a simple way, like, hey, I'm running low, and it tells me when it's running low. It has like a little, I don't know how long it's gonna last because those are like LEDs in there, but I think they're like a type of LED in there, so I don't know how long those are gonna last. But it's kind of cool that it shows me like each one of these, it's dying, and then when it gets to the last part, it still has power. So even when it gets through all four things, it still has one more. It still has one more. I saw he had the solar powered one. He had the one that had like the little solar thing, so it's constantly can charge itself. I was looking at that. I was like, maybe I need one like that. That's got a little solar part to it. It's got the little solar charge power bank. That may be kind of cool too. That's my saltwater hook. That might be kind of cool too. Yeah, like I painted this. Yeah, you can. I don't know if you can make out the eyes on that. There's eyes on it. Let's see if it'll. Yeah. So I put eyes on it, but you can barely make them out. Like, see, there's one eyeball. You can kind of see it. See the little eye. You can barely make it out. See the other one? It's almost like, why did I even put an eye on it? Because I put so much dubbing on there. So I was like, you almost don't need to put eyes on some of them, but it looks cool when you look at it. Yeah, the power bank's really full. See, there's an eye and see the eye, like a crawfish's eye. But on that side, it's got covered up by the dubbing. So I just was like, I'll put it in there anyways. But it's like extra. But it already looks like a crawfish-ish thing without putting those eyes in it. The shape is. It's like it's already looks like a craw. Oh, you're doing the airport run. Airport run. Are you doing the what's it call it? Or is it just doing a favor or something? Just being a good person, being a good friend. We've done them drive from the airport sometimes, even if they don't seem like they're that long. So you go on a taxi or something, you're making money just doing those trips like that. They're like, it's only this many miles. It's not a big deal. You're just taking their stuff to the thing, and then they get out and they get the luggage out, and that's it. And then pick someone else up and take them back to wherever they're going, and do the same thing over and over again, straight shot. Make pretty good money doing that. If when they do, like, some people do Ubers and everything, or have their own little thing, you can make decent money doing that. I remember I got that when I took the airplane. I think at the time it was $40. I think it still is kind of around that range, but it's like one shot, like one shot deal. They're like, take me to this airport, and I was like, take us to the airport, and then the Crown Vic came. I think it was like $40, and then just called them and said, hey, when we come back, same, and it was like the same thing, $40. And then from there, everybody, got to their cars and stuff. It's good to have a good circle. Like I said, sometimes stuff like I lost a lot of different people because of these weird things, but I realized what was going on. I realized what people were doing. And even still, I'm still experiencing some things, but I'm just kind of ignoring what I see. I'm just like, I'm gonna go about I'm ignoring these certain things. And they were, a lot of them are really good folks. It's just folks and stuff. They just, you know, but this, you know, they're getting this. It's like something jumps in them. It's you, so you don't know what's being said or done, and you're like, I wonder. Like, I wonder. You're like, I wonder. Trying to find it here. Yeah, I still got more. Got a few more. Still haven't tied that one. I think so. I think that's what it is. Some don't want you to get into certain circles too, and so. And in my case, I've been around a lot. I've kind of been in all different types of circles. So, and one person told me like, you can't just do that. You can't just. I was like, I'm just chilling. I don't know. I'm like, if it's easy for the people to get along with you, sort of sometimes it's easy for you to just be like, oh, we're here. You're like, I'm not doing that, but okay. And they're like, man, you're cool. You know, and they're like, okay, cool. Different circles, you know, different strokes, different folks, different folks. So sometimes people are like, you can't. Why are you hanging over there? You can't do that. It's kind of weird, like when you go into the circles and stuff. It's like I never that would be the funny story. Hold on, where is it? I'm gonna put where is it? I want to tie one of those. It's just like I met someone who was like really big, a really big famous person. They didn't know who I was. I don't know who they are. And then they're like, "What do you do?" I said, "What?" And I was confused. I was like, "They're like, what do you do?" And I said, "Well, what do you do?" You know, because I didn't know who they were. You know, that's happened to me too. And I was like, "I'm not sure. What do you do then? Since I'm supposed to know." And then they're like, oh, they got kind of upset. And then I was like, oh, you're probably somebody famous or something, or you're about to be or something. And then they're like, yeah, I don't know who you are, who you think you are. And I was like, I don't know. You know, they got really mad with me. They got really mad. And I was like, how are you? I was like, why are you being mean to me? Like, I ain't do nothing to you. Like, and then I realized like later who they were, you know, like I kind of knew. And then I was like, I'm not sure. And I was like, we'll see. And then later I was like, oh, I know who you are. Like, and then I realized they were like a child star, but they were more older at the time when I met them. So I didn't recognize them because they look a little different. And I was like, oh, it's you. I was like, oh yeah, used to watch you on this show. And I used to always think that was weird that they were treating you that way. And they're like, oh, and then they didn't realize that. But when they met, they thought they treated me mean. They kind of were mean to me. And I was like, no, I'm like, I thought that was messed up. And they're like, oh, you did? I'm like, yeah. And they're like, yeah, it was. And I was like, they're like, oh. And then they realized, like, then they humbled themselves as we conversated. So it's really weird. Like, so that's why I said even famous people, they're human. They're human people. They have feelings and stuff. Some of them are mean, but some of them are not. And that's how that person treated me. Kind of like, who do you think you are? You know? It's so different circle, you know, they're like in a different circle. So when they meet you, like, well, why am I talking to you? Who do you think you are? And you're just like, I don't know. Like, we're just in the same place at the same time. And then they talk to me and then they're like, oh. And then and I was like, oh. And then it's like a mutual understanding, like, oh, like light bulb, like, oh, okay, we're just both kind of, they're like, oh, you're just chilling. And I'm like, yeah, I'm just kind of hanging. I'm just here at this place having a drink. I don't know, you know, or whatever. I'm like, okay. And then talk, and then that was it. And then we discussed the world and what do you think? And that was it. Like, those are good, sort of good interactions when it goes that way, when it turns to the positive, like good thing. And you're like, oh, well, that was kind of like a good thing. And see two sides of the coin and how they fought to get what they have. And it was kind of cool to speak to them in that manner. But it was weird when it first went on because of how rude they were. There's like, who are you? Who do you think you are? I'm like, because I didn't know who they were, so I just talked like I'm talking now, and then they just whoa, and then we talked, and oh, okay, oh, light bulb, oh, okay. And then I explained something I like to do, and they're like, oh, why aren't you doing it? You should do this, and then they had like all their opinions. You should do this, and you should do that too. Do that. Go make that money, do this, and that. I'm like, oh, go make that money, do this thing, and I'm like, how do you deal with that? Like, they're like, I don't know, I just don't care. I just do this. I'm gonna get this thing. Okay. Yeah, you gotta kind of just do that, right? Like, there's a point where you finally go, I'm gonna do stuff. I'm gonna do the things I like. I'm gonna do this thing I like, and I'm gonna try to keep any evil part out. Try to like separate, take that away. That needs to go away, even though someone else might be trying to make it come into you. Yeah, and I think that goes for anybody. And then you kind of go, oh no, that person's just kind of they're hanging and they're chilling. They cool, chilling. They're actually kind of chilling. There's some negative that's happened, but they're just kind of chilling over there. I'm trying to think though. We were talking about the struggling. We were talking about the you're saying about the different lures and the different locations and stuff, and I was like, yeah, like it matters, but it doesn't. It matters, but it doesn't. Like certain things, you know, we're saying like certain. I was saying like a, I was like we're saying like something about like the. I think I explained it before. I was like sometimes certain lure work everywhere and some don't or something like that. Like that's kind of like you know like the ones you're saying you're like I don't know if you're this is the ones you were talking about. You're like I like how they look. I don't know if it was those or something else. But that's like a like that's something that like you can take and fish it almost anywhere as long and you just change the colors and around and see what they want and see if it even draws attention from fish and stuff. Certain things, certain crappie jigs too, certain colors, and then certain colors are really good in a certain area because that's what the fish forage that the crappie are eating. I made that one, which I don't see it. It's not sitting up here. And it was, where did it go? Oh, is it over here? Yeah. And I made that one on the short. It's actually, it looks different on the short than it does when you see it now. So you can see the real color of it. Actually, what it really looks like, it's actually like a gray silver. And it's got orange and then brown and then red underneath. So, but on that short, it looks like totally different. But the way the light, it blends, that orange actually blends the way the light refracts off of it. It looks totally different. But when you look at it here, now you can really see that it's like, oh, it's got like a little patch of orange. Then it's red underneath. It's orange on the side. And then it's the tail's like actually like a silver gray. You can you could use this for saltwater. You just need to I would just have to make I would have to use a different jig head, a different style jig head, bullet jig head or something, and then a stronger hook, a heavier duty hook, and then it's a saltwater fly or saltwater jig. That simple. It's just changing the type of hook that it is. Saltwater. That's saltwater. If you look at the hook, it's like, it's coated with a little bit different. It's a little heavier duty. It can work in saltwater or freshwater. It's a little heavier duty. These two, these actually, I use these in brackish water but they're like coated. The hook itself is coated. If you look at it, it's got a little different look to it. It's coated. And these are kind of coated, so they're a little bit tougher, but they're still kind of wiry. So I could probably catch flounder with these. These ones right here, they're kind of coated. They have they're a little bit sturdier than other wire jig heads. They're still wiry though and can bend easily. Like, there's like that. That's a Mr. Twister. That's an old school Mr. Twister jig head. If you look at it, you can tell it's not coated or anything. It's just a regular bronze. And then you look at it next to the other one, you can see that the one's kind of coated with something on it. Well, this one is not over here. And you can see it's trying to like rust and do weird things. But this is like, I used it, like I could use that in the freshwater for bass or wherever. And this one for bass and stuff too. But it's a little bit tougher, but it's still wiry jig head, kind of a wiry jig head. I would maybe chance it on a salmon, maybe, but I don't think I would land a pink salmon or a king, or a coho or a king or anything like that. But it might be the bass and stuff like that. Yeah, you can land some bass on that, and you can land some trout. You can land some really nice, large trout and stuff on it. Yeah, definitely on this. Sometimes they break though. I fished them and they literally rusted and broke while fishing them. I think I showed some of those. They because of salt water, they like this one, the salt water got to it. Because I actually fished this one in salt water before. It was fine for a couple of days, but it eventually just that part broke. Just like it rusted through that little tip, and it caught a fish or two, and then it rusted through that little tip, and bloop, broke. And I was fishing it in brackish water, and it just bloop, that little part broke. That one not gonna break. It's heavy duty. Like, it's debarbed too. No barb on it or nothing. And it'll still hold a big rockfish or something. Just because of the size of it. Like, I've hooked rockfish and they didn't get off. They didn't throw the hook or anything. Big fish with big, decent sized rockfish with this, and they didn't get off. Even though it's debarbed. But the area I was fishing, they said debarb it for salmon. And it's still, even though it was debarbed, they weren't throwing the hook. They were getting, I was landing them and they were staying buttoned, and I was able to reel them up from the pier and everything. The fish, I was able to just crank them up without using a net to crank them up from off the water, because the hook is just really tough. This hook is just really tough. And this is one of the ones I think I got this one from I was talking about this guy. He poured his own, and he would get the specific hooks. So I was like, you're like the only person around here I found that had all these jig heads, all different kinds from bass to saltwater, and he had them poured in different shapes, and he had them, but they were all pretty quality hooks. Some of them, all you had to do was just sharpen. You just needed a file. So he just needed a file, and this is one of them. So it's still pretty sharp still. Still pretty sharp, but even though it's you can see it's a little bit rusted, just a little bit, but it's coat. It's got a different kind of coat to it to make it tough. And that one, yeah, I was like, man, you make some good hooks. You got some good hooks, and he poured his own jig heads, and he would pour rockfish ones and bullet head jigs and all these different jig heads, and he had these really good small ones for crappie and stuff, and they're all ready to be tied on or put bait on them. And I was like, these are great. So I'd go, and they were cheap too. He sold them for really cheap, and you can buy them in bulk. And he was just like, yeah, pick out all the color, all the sizes you want. He just had like this table, and you go in his store, and there's just a table, and and he's like, every so many, and then he was like, make sure to separate them, and then you just would separate them out, and he would have these bottles, and you just put them in there, kind of like having a medicine bottle, like I usually put my flies in now. But he had these like bottles, and he's like, you just put them in there, and he's like, I sell you the whole thing with the bottles, and so you would just go, I need like 10 of those, and he'd like, go fill a bottle up, and you'd fill a bottle up whatever weight jig you need. If you need a tie on them, use them for live bait, whatever you need them for, and you just get the style you need. If you need them for plastic worms or paddle tails, you just go pick it and then grab it. All different weights, all different sizes, saltwater ones designed for saltwater, not for saltwater. And he's like, go pick at it. There's like 50 in there, 20 in there, 10 in there. Like, go. And I was like, this is great. This store's great. You got everything. Like, you got he had a lot of hand poured custom stuff, but it was his shop, and he had all the mainstream stuff too. He had quite a bit of the mainstream stuff too, but he had a lot of stuff he like hand poured, like, and he had other people hand pour them for him. So he had like a lot of crazy colors and different things of plastic worms and all kinds of stuff. And I just love going in there because I was like, man, I'd spend like $10 and $40 went a long way in that store, in that tackle store. Couldn't get me out of that place. I was like, man, and it's a small store. I was like, man, I walk around here forever because you just have all these custom-y cool things that were not super expensive, but you could get a bulk of it, and it worked. So I was like, all this stuff is like great. It's easy to use and work. So I'd go there and just pick up all kind of jig heads. I only have a few left from him, and I was like, I'm gonna go back. And I was like, oh no, I can't, man. Stores, I don't think it's gone. I was trying to look from the Google map to see like if there's any cars parked there and see. Look, I was like, can I see? And I'm like, no, I can't see if the sign's up there. It's in a weird part of the parking lot too, so the cameras didn't go over there, and so you can't see. I'm like, I don't think it's there anymore. It's like it's gone. The little store. Yeah, he had everything. Build a relationship with, yeah, and he's like, you're back again? Like, yeah. Skip. I was like, you know what I'm getting? I was like, I'm getting these jig heads. You know what I'm getting? He's like, what are you doing with those? You know, this is a laugh. What are you doing with that? I was like, no, I went over here and I got a bunch of smallmouth, big smallmouth with that, and I did this. And, oh, he said, go ahead, anytime. He said, grab them, grab it up. Okay. I only have a few of those left, and they're really good. He just used good quality hooks. That's what it was too, for his jigs. So it wasn't about the lead; it's about the quality hooks. Pretty cool. I just wish that store was still there. I wish that store was still there. That's true. I ain't got no one to teach it to. I was just telling a family member that. I said, who am I gonna teach to tie stuff? You know, I have someone who's younger than me. That's a family member who, like, we like video games and everything, and we can talk video games, everything, even the new games. We can talk like that, and he's younger than me, but Christian stuff, he's like, I don't know about that. I would go with you, but he's just like, that's not my thing. I don't know. He's like, it's not his interest. He's like, I'm not interested in that. I was like, well, who am I? I was like, if something happened to 10 years from now, 40 years from now, 20 years from now, would you want this stuff? I asked myself, would you want some of this fly tying stuff? Like, I was like, because I don't want to give it this. I have to give it to somebody. if just like, where would this go? Otherwise, it's just gonna end up where it ends up. And I was like, it'll just end up where it ends up. But yeah, I was offered some stuff like that because someone was like, well, nobody in the family, someone's family, something happened, and they're like, nobody in the family does that. And they're like, "Do you know this?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And I said, "This feels weird," and I felt weird about it. And they're like, "We give you some of this stuff," and I was like, "I feel weird." I'm like, "I don't know if I want it." Felt kind of strange. Yeah, it was generous. It was felt kind of weird though when someone was like, "Hey, we give you this stuff," and I was like, "I don't know if I want it." It was like tying stuff. And I was like, I don't know. It's a little different when you pass it to a family member or somebody. Yeah. I don't know. I'd have to dig around. I have to go see. Like, is any of y'all would want to tie or learn this? I'm like, would y'all want to learn this thing? But yeah. Yep, it's 1 o'clock. Been on for an hour and 46 minutes. I still have coffee here. I don't know if I should drink it or not. Rotisserie, I don't know if you're still in the chat. Yeah, I have no little ones, so that's another thing. So I thought by now I'd have at least one, two, something. Nope, don't got none. At least none that I know of. And and I wasn't the person running around like that. So like, nope, don't have that. So I'm like, some people don't understand that what that is. They're like, why do you want kids so bad? And you're like, you're like, it's not that you want it bad. You're like, well, I want to. Hey, this is something to show them. That's kind of what it is. It's like this is something to show them. Somebody showed me how to fish, and then I took up tying on my own. I was like, I want to figure out how to do that. I took that up on my own. I think pickings are slim sometimes. It's just like it's by what's happening. So like people adjust by what's happening or what society's telling them. I think so. And so that can make finding someone who wants the same thing a little difficult sometimes, and sometimes it's not, but sometimes it is. They don't see that, like, it's like, it's this certain thing can stop with you. Your certain bloodline thing to you can stop with you, even if you have a big family. A certain thing you've genetically learned or can do might stop with you. So like, I was able to dunk a basketball and jump pretty high. That's an athletic thing. That's a different trait. Like, I was able to do a certain couple things. So it's like that stops with me. That might stop with me, but it's in somebody else in my family. But on my side of it, it's kind of stops with me if I don't have a child or something. Or say, hey, you can probably play this sport or you can run track because I was kind of fast. And it's something that's within you. Then you know that it passed down to them. They just don't, and it's up to them if they want to do that or not. You don't want to force them, but it's that kind of stuff. That's true. Unrealistic expectations. I don't think I ever did had unrealistic ones. At least as a dude, I just kind of was like, maybe it'll work, maybe it won't. Maybe it will, maybe it won't work. And yeah, unrealistic expectations, definitely. Unrealistic expectations. I think that I'm not an expert on that or anything. I'm disclaimer, I'm not an expert, but I think people. I think we kind of, we're told you can become anything you want to be, and then and it's not. That's true. I mean, that's true. But like when, uh, but there's all these other people some people want to do the same thing. So you're competing in a way, sort of against others in the same way, in a way. And I think that's kind of how the society is kind of geared to see what will come bubble to the surface. Who's gonna perform a certain way, and sometimes it's kind of false because there's still things in there. You know what I mean? Like, oh, that person got a leg up over there because, and some people think someone has a leg up and it's not, or there's little things to it. And I think when people you're trying to find partners and stuff, I think that's part kind of plays into it. That can kind of wreck stuff sometimes too, because it's like, well, that's not a legitimate way to look at it, you know, when you're looking at those material things you can't take with you. That's the one of the big ones. So like all them jigs and things, I better fish them. I better, you know what I mean? I better get some. Hey, what do you want to fish one of these and see if it catches? You start thinking about it that way, and you're like, oh, you know, here, you want to try one of these, see if it works, or you can't take it. Like I can't take the jig with you. This material, this is made of hair. Like it can rot, it can deteriorate, it can break down and deteriorate. If it's tied well, it will last a long time. I have some flies that I've had since I was 10. They're still around. They're still in my box. Still look pretty pristine. Still, I could take them out, put them on the line, and fish it. There's a few in here, actually. There's a few in here that are stuff I tied 10 years ago. And there's a few in that pack. They'll fish. You can fish them. And they were tied well, and they're still together, holding together. But that's part of it too. You're like, this is only gonna be here for a time too. And so like that fly might be there long. This fly might be gone, and this still might be in this pack. And someone be like, fly. It'll be like, fly. And they're like, this fly. Run time. Who's run? I have some lures like that too, where I got, and it's like something somebody else came up with that was really good at the time, and that was like taken off at the time, and I have them, and they were popular. I have some lures that are caught state record California bass. It was like a lure that was marketed, and something somebody made hand poured, and I have them, and they're like, yeah, this caught the state record at this time, and I still have 2 packs of those, one unopened and one opened, and I was like, that's crazy to think about. I was like, yeah, I don't see these in the store no more. You can't just go get those. But I have some just hanging around because they have really cool color to them. And I'm like, and I still don't see any that are colored like that either. They're a plastic worm. And I was like, huh. So it's like that. It's like, oh, but whoever made that, it's boom, it's still there. I have them. I'm like, oh, this is still here. Somebody created that. Oh no, it's fine. I'm getting ready to get off of here. I mean, just chatting and chopping it up with you. So I see 3 in the chat, at least on my end. Hello, whoever else is still in the chat listening to me. Oh, they left. Then they came back. They left. Whoever that is. I don't know if that was rotisserie in here or somebody else. They were just hanging. Just kind of chatting. Yeah, I was telling him about Thai flies. Yeah, he really ties some good flies, and a couple others tie some really good flies on YouTube, and I met a few of them. And I'm like, yeah, it's cool. Oh, okay. Well, oh yeah, yeah. But there was a third, and it went in, went out. So. And I know it's not always what it says, the number. I was walking today, and it said 0, but when I looked at it later, I was like, "There's no way it was 0." I was like, "There's no way." And I took a video. I put the phone down to the water because there was a puddle, and it was full of tadpoles. And I was like, "There's tadpoles in there." All right, you too, man. Yeah, I'm gonna get off here too. It's late, well, early, I should say. You have a good day. Enjoy your Saturday. And I'll talk to you later, man. And anybody else in the chat, hope you enjoyed watching me tie this jig. Call it like a little blood orange, kind of like a blood orange crawfish. Late night crawfish tie, orange with a little red glitter to it. Came out pretty good. Little crawfish jig pattern thing. Catch some bass with it. All right, I'm out of here. Thanks, folks. Later. Bye.